From falling out of the sky to a nail-biting photo finish for last place, episode 6 of The Amazing Race was action-packed and displayed the beauty of Dubai. So let's get into it. Okay, so we're on the heels of this double U-turn madness. Lori and Scott go. Jonathan and Anna are mad and they're fighting and they're mad at all the other teams for voting them. It's pure chaos. Right. So all the teams travel from Bali to Dubai. And there was like a little bit of like weird airport drama, like not really, but
not much.
I feel like Jonathan and Anna are trying to make something that doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
Out of was it with Carson and Jack? I'm like, get over it. Like you guys were in first. I'm sorry, but if you're on The Amazing Race and you're doing that well and there's a U-turn, you're obviously going to be the team that's voted. That's what happens.
Well, and you could tell from last episode after the U-turn happened, and in my opinion, all of this episode, they have the worst mood still. Yeah. Especially him. Yeah. It's like, get over it.
I will say, too, I'm sad that that's kind of like all they showed from the airport because I won't say who, but the team that was eliminated that I spoke to, they mentioned to me that the airport moment was actually like a bonding time because they could take their time and they also got and had a meal and had drinks together and stuff. And so like, it was just really fun. And I'm like, I wish we would have gotten to see more of that, but it's okay. So the teams travel to Dubai. And here's what's kind of cool. Once they travel, they kind of stay at this desert camp overnight and pick a departure time. And apparently the eliminated team said that was also a really big bonding moment. And they felt like all the teams really got to know each other.
I felt like there was a lot of sit and wait in this episode.
Very much.
Sit and wait at the airport, sit and wait at this camp. I was like, it's kind of surprising because that kind of wait just wastes like 2 days at that point, you know?
Yeah, it is a lot of time. It was kind of weird. I don't know. So the following morning, they wake up, they ride on camels to kind of get out of the desert and find their next clue, which looked really cool.
It looked real cool. And when they got like foggy or whatever.
Yeah, it was like the setting like was so movie.
Yeah, I think Carson and Jack were like, oh, we feel like we're in Star Wars. Yeah. I'm like, oh, it's really showing your nerd there, guys.
Yeah, honestly. But it was really cool. So the first roadblock of this episode, we teased it last week. Charlie and I are like, heck to the no, couldn't be us. They go skydiving. So one person from each pair must participate in a tandem skydive. And here's what's crazy. The view looked incredible. Skydiving into Dubai, can't think of a much better place to do it than there. But I'm still not sure that that's my journey.
See, also, I don't, right now, I would be like, I don't want to do it. But also watching, I was like, it would be really cool to do it. Yeah. But I think I might pass out on the way down.
Yes. And I will say, I feel like almost everyone handled it pretty well. And I will say there was this really touching moment. I believe is it Isaiah and Alyssa or something like that? Josiah, yes. All the names are hard. Anyway, Josiah and his wife's up kind of, you know, she's the one doing the skydive. And he's at the bottom and he's just like really sweet. He starts crying and he's like, I just know she's scared and I'm scared for her and I just want her to be okay.
It was very sweet.
And then it made me laugh because then Jeff was like, I see him crying and then that makes me cry. And it was just like, everyone was like very touched by that moment. And I was like, wow, it's so nice to see a sweet and loving couple on this show who actually cares about each other.
I will say I was very surprised how quickly Anna jumped out. I thought she would be one that's like, I can't do it. You know, and then Jonathan's gonna be down on the ground, cursing her out and being so mad. But I was surprised she got out there pretty quick.
Listen, she's scared of that water, but she ain't scared to jump out the plane.
That's true. That's true.
It's give and take. It's give and take. So what else was kind of exciting, so they also learned that post-skydiving, there's an opportunity to get the fast forward, which we've seen this before. This is not a new twist. But essentially, one team gets the chance to go and get the fast forward. And then if they receive that, they skip all the remaining challenges in that leg and go straight to the pit stop. So Jack and Carson are the one team that decided to go and participate in this. So they traveled to Deep Dive Dubai. And this actually looked so cool. You and I were both talking about this.
Really cool.
Yeah, because they go to this building, they put on the scuba diving gear, and then they submerge into what is the world's deepest diving pool. And it literally looks like a whole like
sunken city kind of.
Yeah. It was but it was like very modernized too.
Right.
Super interesting.
Well, and even one of them said like, if we weren't on the race, if we had more time down there, we could have spent the whole day down there. I mean, there was a lot to see. I mean, I will say I would probably have a little panic attack at the first breath I have to take. But after I got that going, you know, I would have been fine. So
I agree. Well, and it's I was thinking about that too because last year we both did the shark thing at Wonders of Wildlife, and it's like not the same but kind of, and it's like that is like it takes a second to get used to. So I kind of like pictured it like that, but I'm like, what a cool, unique experience. That's probably once in a lifetime.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I was like, that's really cool. Jack and Carson do end up getting the fast forward and immediately go to the pit stop. So let's get back to the rest of the teams. So now the rest of the teams have to travel to the Atlantis Hotel to get their next clue. Then they find out they'll be participating in a challenge that tasks them with garnishing an afternoon tea platter, and then they have to properly present it to a judge to get the next clue. This was meticulous, tedious, whatever word you want to use.
Very.
And here's the thing. I wouldn't say like none of the teams like overly struggled. I think it just came down to like, again, that very like detailed aspect of it.
Because it was just minor things that, I mean, I was honestly surprised how many teams got on their first try.
Yeah, me too.
And then only like 2, maybe 3 had just minute things that they missed. Like instead of gold flakes that they were supposed to be there, they had gold like leaves or something.
Yes.
Leaves like or something like that.
Because the thing is, the judge was not easy. It was very specific requirements they were looking for. Yeah. So like that would be the challenging part of that. I don't know. So once they leave the hotel, they go to the second roadblock, which was really interesting. I guess it's like the season of surfing because we're surfing again, but this time it's a little different. This is something called foil boarding or e-foil. There's a lot of different names for it. So it's almost kind of like a motorized like surfboard that you control kind of with a remote. It was very interesting. But essentially they learn how it works, and one member of the team does this. So they learn how it works, and then they kind of have to like successfully go through this little course that's built out through buoys to get the next clue. And I will say, every team struggled for at least a little bit, but some definitely got out earlier than others.
Han did great.
Yes.
Han's like, I've done surfing the last, I think 2 years. And it took her a second to figure it out. But I mean, being motorized, it's a little different than just riding the waves. But she got it pretty quickly, and then they were out of there. So
most of the teams did very well. But let me tell you this. 2 teams that were struggling, okay? Nick and Mike, Jeff and Pops.
Yep.
These 2 teams struggle so much, okay? They end up being the last 2 teams left that have not made it to the pit stop. Then, little piece here, to get to the pit stop this time, there was this added layer of you had to take this, like basically what's like the high-speed train, just a little train or whatever in Dubai. And so Jeff and Pops leave the challenge first before Nick and Mike, but they miss what would have been their best opportunity to get ahead. Yeah. So then they're waiting there, and they have to wait 4 or 5 minutes. Well, at this point, Nick and Mike finish, and they get to the train. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a foot race.
It was very tight.
So they get on the same train, and it made me laugh how they like went down to like separate ends. I'm like, what is that going to do for you? Because then once they got off the train, they were literally running the same track the whole time. When I tell you, I cannot think of, I'm sure there's been a foot race before, but I cannot think of one this tight and this close, especially when you're looking for last place or the last spot left, I guess, in a long time. Okay? This was chaotic. So you're running out, and my heart's like racing. It's like beating. I'm like, I'm like nail biting. And here's what's crazy too, is honestly, I was pulling for Jeff and Pops. One, they're from St. Louis, so I just have like that Missouri kind of bias. But also, I just really, really like their dynamic. Nothing against Nick and Mike. They're honestly fine, and they're a great team as well. I just myself prefer Pops and Jeff. So you see them all running out of like the train stop thing, headed over to the museum to meet Phil. And unfortunately, Nick and Mike get there first, eliminating Pops and Jeff. But I will say, and I don't know if you caught this, but Pops clearly had an ankle issue or a foot issue or something, because you can see he kind of slows down and stops and is doing something with his ankle. So I don't think that like there was ever really a way Pops and Jeff were going to outbeat them anyway. And so I'm like, man, if they would have just gotten on that train 5 minutes earlier, Nick and Mike for sure would have been eliminated.
Right. Well,
but alas, here we are.
And the door literally shut in their face.
Now,
I'm sure you were too. I was rooting for Jonathan and Anna to lose. Their attitudes are so just depressing at this point. It's like, why are you here? Why do you want to be here now that you're just going to act like you don't want to be here?
I know. It was really frustrating. And it's also hard because it's like, whatever. Everyone can treat the race how they want to, but it's hard when like you have a team like Pops and Jeff that are just so positive and energetic and so kind to each other and encouraging, and such a great display of like, and I even said this to them in the interview, but such a great display of like a father-son relationship. And then you're like watching Jonathan and just like tear each other apart. I'm like, ugh, this merry-go-round is annoying.
Right. Also, we should mention that Jackson and Carson got first.
Yes, I think I said that earlier.
Oh, I missed that.
But yes, they did get first, and then obviously Pops and Jeff were eliminated. I loved this episode.
It was a good episode.
The beginning was a lot of sit and wait, but once it kind of picked up, I thought it was fun. I like seeing like 3 very different kinds of challenges, and it kind of tasked them all in very different ways. And I have to say, another episode where we're just seeing the placements go everywhere. Jack and Carson have finally gotten first after being in the top 3 all season. We saw Han and Holden step up. They've kind of been middle to lower of the pack, and they've got second now. And then you still got Jonathan and Anna kind of in the back, and Nick and Mike in dead last. So it's like, I definitely think that we're seeing these placements continue to change. And here's what's crazy. Okay, if you thought this season was already crazy, well, we're getting crazier because on the next episode, the brand new episode, teams are traveling to Bulgaria, which is really cool. This is the first time the race has ever traveled there. And it's rare that we have a first-time location. Like Dubai, the show's been to like 1,000 times. But first-time location, and also another double U-turn.
I feel like surely this one's not a live vote, though.
I don't think it is. And in a press picture I saw, spoiler alert, I saw the board. So I think it's done the traditional way on Amazing Race. But I'm like, this is going to be crazy. And then I'm like, what's going to change? I'm like, are Jonathan going to get again? Are people going to get Jack and Carson? Who's going to go up?
Jack and Carson have got to be on everybody's radar at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been doing most of the whole season, and they got first this time. They got that fast forward, and people are probably going to be a little mad about that, too.
Well, it's crazy, though, because if you think about it, like the last double U-turn quite literally completely changed the trajectory of the season. Lori and Scott got out, and Jonathan and Anna fell to the bottom when they were top two the whole season. So it's like, now Jack and Carson are up there. If they get U-turned, then what? You know, it's like we might see another unexpected team go, which would be really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it also depends on the challenges, too. And I think with Jonathan and Anna, that resulted in Jonathan's attitude just turning all the way around because he's mad about that. I think if he would have kept a more positive attitude, maybe they could have gotten somewhere a little higher, too.
Well, what's interesting is, like, that piece of it totally comes down to the team's strengths and weaknesses, right? So, like, Jonathan and Anna are a strong team, but they have horrible communication, and they talk to each other bad, and then he's always moping. That's their biggest like kryptonite, right? But with Lori and Scott, when they were eliminated, they were actually killing all the challenges. It was like they mentioned in the interview with me, they just were not very quick when it came to like the traveling between each spot, the running or the jogging or whatever. And so it's like you just never know what that's gonna be. This episode, Pops' ankle got him behind, and so they couldn't beat Nick and Mike to the pit stop. So it's like it will be very interesting to see what plays into that. Absolutely. So I don't know. I'm very excited for this next episode. I'm loving this season. I have not felt like so unsure of who's going to win in a long time because last season we had Ricky and Caesar. The season before that was Greg and John. So it was like we've had very predictable winners and very clear leads the whole season the last few times. Yeah. And I'm liking that we're having this very kind of up and down season. And honestly, maybe a lot of that is due to these nonstop surprises and twists that are in store. I don't know. So, and there is more. I saw some more press releases today. You guys, I can't speak. And there are even more twists ahead, even past this episode. So anyway, that is it for this recap of Amazing Race.